listening. And FDR could turn the socks off of you, but the thing was, he liked you.
The greatest presidents since Washington and Lincoln.
People elected him 4 times.
4 times. He was a radical double-crosser.
What do you know?
My father told me. Roosevelt tried to ruin the country.
He saved our farm. He gave us hope.
This is preeminently the time to speak the truth, the whole truth, frankly and boldly. Nor need we shrink from honestly speaking conditions in our country today. This great nation will endure as it has endured, will revive and will prosper.
In 100 days, Franklin Roosevelt transformed the American government, made it huge beyond belief, made it part of everyone's life. He was the ultimate politician, a man who got things done. He hated corporate greed and rescued capitalism from its own excess. An aristocrat who reignited the idea of a government for and by the people, made the people his partners in his passion for a better democracy. Franklin D. Roosevelt loved being president.
We were not supposed to wave, ordered my mother, the cheering list from my grandfather.
I'm the little boy, and it's my elder sister. Sis and I lived here as children. This was home to me, as well as to my grandfather. What a place to play. Hiding behind trees for tag and hide and seek, and it was a wonderful place to grow up. My grandfather was a marvelous grandfather, as well as being President of the United States. He would read the funnies to us, and he was terrific.
That's his wife, Eleanor Roosevelt.
Eleanor Roosevelt was everything.
Eleanor Roosevelt broke the mold as the First Lady.
She went into the heart of the country and learned what was really going on.
To give of her personal presence to people, to occasions, to causes.
No other First Lady was like Eleanor Roosevelt before or since.
I'm very happy to be back and to be part of a delightful trip and enjoyed everything I've had.
So many times people say I look so much like my grandmother and then say, you know, what is it? And I think that, I hope anyway, it's her smile that I've inherited. I'm so proud of my grandmother. She wanted to be helpful. There was nothing complicated about this. There was nothing ambitious about this. She simply looked at who she was and where she was and tried to figure out how to be helpful.
She was First Lady for 13 years, but she had a political career for 17 years after FDR's life. She wrote 17 books, 556 articles, 8,000 columns. She was a member of the first American delegation to the United Nations. She was courageous, she was intense, she was sweet, and she always put you at ease and gave you courage.
My dear Mrs. Roosevelt, I have worried myself almost ill trying to think of some way to get some clothing, and after a while decided to write to you. I know you must have so many discarded clothes because you will always look so lovely in your pictures. And I know you are kind because you have such a sweet face. I have a little boy 9 years old and work as a maid at a family farm.
They're only gray for a day. So wrap your troubles in dreams and dream your troubles away.
1932. You called it the Great Depression. So many people out working.
Everything gone. Jobs, savings, food.
We had nothing, we got nothing, absolutely nothing. Everybody had to hustle and struggle. On the day Roosevelt was inaugurated, banks were closing in 32 states. Couldn't pay their customers. In Pittsburgh, Detroit, half the people were out of work. Illinois closed 1,000 schools. Couldn't pay the teachers. In West Virginia, 90% of the children suffered from malnutrition. In a single day in Mississippi, half the state's farms were put up for auction.
First of all, let me
original manuscript of the inaugural address as written at Hyde Park on Monday, February 27, 1933. Here it is in his handwriting. FDR was himself, as far as I recollect, fearless. What he radiated was his own sense of confidence and his confidence in Americans. The American people related to him, and he related to them, and that was his bond.
I set myself to a new deal for the American people.
He called the New Deal, a new deal for the forgotten man.
And he said, nobody's gonna starve in this country, everybody's gonna have a little food, every person who's an American citizen has a right to enjoy the fruits of liberty. That was the New Deal. Social Security, welfare, unemployment. I mean, all these things were ways of saying, we're gonna treat you properly because you're American.
All together, 10 million jobs, banking loans, stock market, programs for farmers.
If the average citizen is guaranteed equal opportunity in the voting place, he must have equal opportunity in the marketplace.
This driveway had a very particular memory for my grandfather. You know he had polio. You know he was crippled. Part of his therapy that he invented for himself was to drag himself on his crutches with no support from his legs whatsoever, just his arms and shoulders, moving those crutches forward and the legs coming in, all the way up to the end of that driveway. At a young age, I just was unconscious of his being crippled. When we went swimming later, then I could see just how powerfully built he was, arms, shoulders, chest, and then it came down to nothing, shriveled hips and legs.
He has one priceless attribute, an act of locking up his and the world's worries in some secret mental compartment, and then enjoying himself to the top of the mountain. The quality of survival, of physical toughness, of champagne ebullience is one key to the big man. Another key is this: no one has ever heard him admit that he cannot walk. Time Magazine, June 1940.
Remember the Dust Bowl? The people, the land nearly died. The whole middle of the country saw its precious soil picked up and blown away. Doesn't happen anymore because Franklin Roosevelt knew what to do, and he did it. Franklin Roosevelt changed the face of America.
200 million acres of trees, from the Dakotas to the Texas Panhandle, to stop the dust storms.
39,000 new schools, 65,000 playgrounds, 1 million miles of highway.
U.S. Mint for San Francisco, a city hall for Kansas City, an auditorium for
Airports for Washington, for Philadelphia, for Cleveland, New York, Chicago.
A new post office for Concord, for Crawfordsville, Coronado, Carlisle, and Camden. Buildings in Baton Rouge.
Training, cooling down. The Almondville Dam.
Tennessee Valley Authority. Electric power for farms and towns and valleys.
Natchez Trace, Pennsylvania Turnpike, Overseas Highway to Key West.
Lakeshore Drive, East River Drive, Skyline Drive.
A medical center for Jersey City, a subway system for Chicago, a great mall for Washington.
3 billion trees for forests and parklands.
The first presidential library, his idea, his gift to the American people.
I'm glad that you will come today because, as I suggested at lunch to some of the trustees, this is the last chance you've got to see this library free of charge.
Nothing like the library, though, you know. There's so many great stories. I love this picture of my grandmother with Marian Anderson. I love how happy she looks. How happy they both look. to be in each other's company.
Lincoln Memorial, Near Marion Anderson, Alice Delgado, make a capital debut at the Great Emancipator Shrine. Refusal of the DAR to let her use their hall, and a patriotic controversy, with this great gathering at the climax.
Gromere resigned from the Daughters of the American Revolution, who owned the hall and who had prevented Marian Anderson from giving his concert. But instead of just protesting, she arranged for Miss Anderson to sing at the Lincoln Memorial for thousands.
Eleanor Roosevelt was the first lady of civil rights.
A white woman who had no prejudice and no fear. That's what gave her power.
When she was in her 70s, she traveled alone to Tennessee to support the civil rights workers, but she knew the Ku Klux Klan was waiting for her. The Klan put a bounty on her head, $25,000. They found dynamite packed around the wheels of her car.
And she persisted, even knowing that there were attempts on her own life. As she said, courage can be exhilarating.
Roosevelt saw the war coming before anybody else.
He was all alone when he did this action. Saw the myth. They kept trying to tell us.
Frankly and definitely, there is danger ahead. Danger against which we must prepare. The experience of the past 2 years has proven beyond doubt that no nation can appease the Nazis. There can be no appeasement with ruthlessness. There can be no reasoning with an incendiary bomb.
He risked his political career getting ready for the war when no one would listen.
If your neighbor has a fire, lend him your garden hose. That's what he said. Told him to lend the lease.
So our country is going to be what our people have proclaimed it must be, the arsenal of democracy.
We produce more than all the countries of the world combined. Roosevelt made that happen.
Doesn't matter how long it may take us to overcome this premeditated campaign. The American people in their righteous might will win through to absolute victory.
When Roosevelt led the United States during World War II, he was the head of the greatest coalition of nations and the most extensive war the world has ever seen.
The United Nations constitute an association of independent people of equal dignity and importance. The United Nations are dedicated to a common cause.
All through the war, he kept repeating, the United Nations and the four freedoms.
Freedom of speech and expression. Freedom of every person to worship God in his own way. Freedom from want. Freedom